Have you ever walked into a room and felt your energy plummet, as if something invisible drained the life right out of you? What if I told you that's not just in your head? There are unseen forces, people, environments, even hidden societal scripts feeding on your life force every single day. And the worst part, you might be willingly handing it over without even realizing it. Right now, you're surrounded by silent thieves of your vitality, manipulating your emotions, hijacking your focus, and leaving you exhausted. But it doesn't have to stay this way. In the next few minutes, we're going to expose exactly how your energy is being stolen, and most importantly, how to take it back once and for all. Have you ever wondered why people seem to crave your attention only when you decide to pull away? It's as if your absence echoes louder than your presence ever did. But this isn't some random social quirk. It's a deep-rooted psychological and energetic phenomenon. When you're constantly available, always answering calls, responding to every message within seconds, showing up for everyone but yourself, you become background noise in their reality, familiar, predictable, and in the harsh equation of human psychology, predictability often breeds invisibility. But here's the hidden power. Silence creates mystery. Withdrawal creates value. When you consciously retreat, not out of bitterness, but as an act of self-respect, you force others to feel your absence. And that absence becomes a mirror, reflecting just how much of your energy they've been consuming unnoticed. Think about the last time you stopped reaching out first. Did you notice who actually checked in on you and who disappeared the moment you stopped feeding them your energy? This is the art of energetic withdrawal, not to punish others, but to protect yourself. It's a declaration. My presence is a privilege, not a given. And once you master this, you'll find that those who truly value you will rise to meet you on your terms, while those who were only there to take will simply vanish. Have you ever noticed how something becomes more desirable the moment it feels just out of reach? That's not a coincidence. It's a psychological law known as the scarcity principle. And believe me, it governs far more of your life than you realize. In human relationships, this principle operates subtly but powerfully. When you're always present, emotionally available, physically accessible, endlessly giving, your value becomes normalized. People subconsciously assume they'll always be there, and what's always there is rarely appreciated. But the moment you become less accessible, an ancient survival mechanism kicks in. Suddenly, your attention feels scarce, your presence rare, and scarcity triggers desire. People begin to notice your absence. They start wondering, did I do something wrong? Why do I miss their energy so much? This isn't manipulation, it's energetic rebalancing. You're not creating artificial distance to play games. You're honoring the truth that your time, attention, and energy are finite resources. And when you treat them as such, others are forced to respect that reality too. Think of luxury items. Why do people chase limited edition sneakers or exclusive events? It's not always about the product. It's about the feeling that not everyone can have this. Your energy works the same way. So ask yourself, are you giving away your presence like it's an all-you-can-eat buffet? Or are you treating your energy like a rare vintage wine, something to be savored, not gulped down by anyone who asks? Remember, true value is never found in what's always available. It's discovered in what's courageously withheld. Here's a hard truth most people don't want to admit. Your emotions are a currency, and the more predictably you spend them, the easier it is for others to control you. Think about it. If every time someone criticizes you, you respond with anger, they know exactly which button to push. If a friend or partner guilt trips you and you immediately fold to please them, they've learned how to manipulate your generosity. Over time, you stop being you. You become a predictable program, running scripts others have silently installed. But what happens when you introduce silence instead of reaction? Silence is a disruptive force. It breaks emotional patterns and forces others to confront their own behavior. When you refuse to play the role they expect, whether it's the peacemaker, the people pleaser, or the one who always explodes on cue, you take back control of the script. This isn't emotional coldness, it's emotional mastery. The person who can remain centered in the face of chaos, who can pause, breathe, and choose their response rather than react impulsively, becomes untouchable. That's real power. Next time someone tries to bait you into an argument or guilt you into a decision, try this. Don't react. Just observe, feel the tension rise, and instead of releasing it through predictable reactions, hold your ground. Watch how quickly the dynamic shifts. In that space of silence, you reclaim something priceless, your emotional freedom. And from that space, you can finally respond, not out of habit or guilt, but from clarity and authentic choice. Your energy is your most valuable resource, more precious than time, more powerful than money. And yet, how often do you spend it without even noticing? Every conversation, every notification, every demand placed on you, it's either draining your energy or replenishing it. Most people live in a constant state of energetic bankruptcy. They say yes when they mean no, attend events they don't want to be at, engage in conversations that leave them exhausted, and wonder why they feel so depleted by the end of the day. Here's the hidden truth. Every yes to something meaningless is a silent no to something that truly matters. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's spiritual hygiene. You wouldn't leave the doors of your home wide open for anyone to walk in and take what they please. So why do you leave the doors to your mind, heart, and soul unlocked? Learn this phrase. That doesn't work for me. No apologies, no long explanations, just a firm, respectful boundary. When you start managing your energy with the same care you'd manage your finances, everything changes. You stop investing in dead-end relationships. You stop attending draining social gatherings just to keep appearances. You become the gatekeeper of your own life. And remember, people will resist when you start doing this. Why? Because they've grown accustomed to feeding off your energy freely. But stay firm. Those who genuinely value you will respect your boundaries. The rest will reveal their true intentions by falling away. Your energy is sacred. Protect it like your life depends on it, because in many ways, it does. Somewhere along the path of being a good person, you were probably taught that self-sacrifice is a virtue, that love means giving until there's nothing left of you. But let me ask you, how's that working out? If constantly saying yes to others has left you feeling depleted, resentful, and invisible, it's because you've unknowingly fallen into one of the most dangerous spiritual traps, self-abandonment disguised as love. True love, whether for others or yourself, is not about martyrdom. It's not about endlessly pouring from an empty cup. Real love honors balance. It understands that giving without boundaries isn't compassion. It's a slow form of self-destruction. Here's the harsh reality. When you abandon yourself to meet everyone else's needs, you're not practicing kindness. You're practicing self-neglect. And over time, this manifests as chronic fatigue, emotional imbalance, and even physical illness. If you're constantly drained, ask yourself, when was the last time I said no and didn't feel guilty about it? Do I overextend myself because I'm afraid of being rejected or unloved if I set boundaries? Understand this. Saying yes to everything is not a badge of honor. It's a warning sign that you've placed others above your own soul. True, spiritual growth requires you to choose yourself again and again, not out of selfishness, but out of the deep knowing that you cannot serve the world if you're running on empty. So the next time you feel that familiar pressure to give more, then you have to pause, breathe, and remember, honoring your own needs is not a betrayal of love. It's the highest form of it. Have you ever noticed how, during certain phases of your life, you kept attracting the same kind of toxic people over and over again? Different faces, same energy. That's not random. That's resonance, your personal energy field, your vibrational frequency is like a silent broadcast tower, constantly sending out signals into the universe. And whether you're aware of it or not, those signals dictate who and what you attract into your life. If you're living in a state of constant self-abandonment, low boundaries and emotional exhaustion, guess what kind of people you're drawing in? Energy vampires, emotional chaos. People who instinctively sense that you'll bend, break, and sacrifice yourself just to keep the peace. But when you begin to raise your frequency, not through forced positivity, but by setting real boundaries, honoring your time, and reclaiming your personal power, you start attracting very different people. Suddenly the chaotic ones can't stand to be around you. They'll call you cold, selfish, or changed. And they're right. You have changed. You've stopped broadcasting desperation for love and acceptance. You've started radiating self-respect, and in the language of vibration, like attracts like. When you protect your energy fiercely, only those who respect and honor that boundary will remain. Here's the ultimate test. The next time chaos knocks at your door, don't answer. Watch what happens. The universe is always listening to your energy, not your words. If you want peace, embody peace. If you want love, become the living frequency of it. And most importantly, stop lowering your vibration just to keep others comfortable. Your highest self is waiting for you to rise. How much of your life is a carefully rehearsed performance? Be honest. Are you living as the raw, untamed version of yourself, or the version that fits neatly into what others expect of you? The smiling friend, the agreeable partner, the endlessly productive worker. Somewhere along the way, you learn to wear masks, polished, socially acceptable versions of yourself to avoid conflict, rejection, or judgment. But every mask you wear costs you a piece of your soul. And here's the spiritual trap. Society rewards the performance. You're applauded for being agreeable, for blending in, for sacrificing your needs to meet external expectations. But while you're busy being the person others want you to be, the person you truly are fades further into the background. Authenticity isn't about perfection. It's about permission. Permission to be messy, to have boundaries, to say, I'm not okay without guilt. It's about daring to show up as you are, even if it means disappointing those who only love the version of you that serves their needs. But understand this. Every time you abandon your authenticity for acceptance, you reinforce the lie that who you really are isn't enough. Dropping the mask is terrifying, but it's also the most liberating act you'll ever perform. Ask yourself, what roles am I playing just to survive? And who would I be if I had the courage to remove the mask? Because here's the secret. The people meant for you will never require a performance. They'll meet you in the rawness of your truth and love you all the more for it. There's a silent battle happening every day, one you probably don't even realize you're fighting. It's the battle for your attention, your emotions, and ultimately, your energy. Every time you react to a rude comment online, every time someone provokes you and you lash out impulsively, every time you feel the uncontrollable urge to defend, explain, or prove yourself, someone else is pulling the strings. This is how you unknowingly give away your psychic sovereignty. Sovereignty means ruling over your own internal kingdom, and emotional discipline is the sword that protects that kingdom. It's not about suppressing your emotions, it's about choosing when and how to express them consciously, rather than being a puppet to external triggers. Ask yourself, do I really need to respond to every provocation? Am I reacting out of alignment with my higher self, or simply feeding an emotional loop I'm trapped in? There's power in not answering every insult. There's mastery in refusing to be baited by negativity. Sometimes the strongest move is simply no response. Remember this. Every time you hold back from reacting automatically, you reclaim a piece of your life force. You break free from the unconscious patterns others use to hook you. This is the essence of psychic protection. Not elaborate rituals or complex defenses, but the simple, consistent mastery of your own reactions. When you refuse to dance to the tune of external chaos, you become untouchable. And that is the highest form of power. Here's a concept most people never question. What if the way people treat you has less to do with you and more to do with what they refuse to see in themselves? Welcome to the world of projection, where unresolved wounds, unacknowledged fears, and suppressed desires are cast onto others like shadows on a wall. It's not just a psychological theory, it's an everyday reality. Someone calls you selfish when you finally set a boundary. Chances are, they've never learned how to ask for what they need without manipulation. Someone labels you too sensitive. They likely grew up in an emotional wasteland, disconnected from their own heart. But here's where it gets dangerous. If you don't understand projection, you'll start to believe the roles people assign to you. You'll shrink, contort, and twist yourself to fit into someone else's unresolved narrative. This is how emotional manipulation works. Not always through cruelty, sometimes through flattery, guilt, or praise that subtly nudges you into becoming who they need you to be. But here's the truth that sets you free. You are not their mirror. You are your own masterpiece. The moment you step out of the roles others have projected onto you, the rescuer, the villain, the caregiver, the fool, you begin to reclaim your identity. Not the one shaped by other people's wounds, but the one forged by truth. So the next time someone tries to define you, pause. Ask, is this really about me, or is this a reflection of something they haven't faced within themselves? The more you see through the illusion of projection, the less power anyone has to manipulate your soul. Rebirth isn't always some grand, fiery moment of transformation. It doesn't have to come with dramatic endings or bold new beginnings. Sometimes rebirth is quiet. It happens in the silence of your own heart when you finally whisper to yourself, I'm done living this way. It begins in solitude, in choosing to step away from relationships, environments, and patterns that no longer nourish your soul. And yes, that silence can feel terrifying at first. When you remove the noise, you're left face to face with the one person you've been avoiding all along, yourself. But in that stillness, something powerful begins to unfold. You start to feel the faint stirrings of a forgotten truth. You were never meant to live drained, diminished, or defined by others. Rebirth isn't about becoming someone new. It's about returning to who you were before the world told you who to be. So sit with yourself in the discomfort, in the quiet. Allow the old versions of you, the people pleaser, the martyr, the performer, to fall away. And when you emerge, you won't need to announce it to the world. The shift will be undeniable. Your energy will speak louder than words. Remember, true transformation doesn't shout. It radiates. And from that radiant place, you'll begin attracting a life that no longer drains you, but feeds you. A life aligned with your highest truth. So now you know. Not all theft is loud. Sometimes it looks like overcommitment. Sometimes it feels like guilt disguised as love. And sometimes it hides behind a smile that drains you just a little more each day. But you're not powerless. Your life force is yours to protect. And every choice you make, what you tolerate, what you allow, what you give your energy to, is either a shield or a surrender. If this message resonated with you, don't let it fade into the background noise of another video. Pause, reflect, and choose differently. Set one boundary today. Say one honest no. Withdraw your energy from just one place where it's being taken for granted. And then Watch what happens, because when you stop leaking your life force, you stop living on autopilot, and you start awakening to the version of you that was never meant to be caged, drained, or manipulated. You were never here to be consumed. You were here to radiate. If this video stirred something inside you, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below sharing your thoughts or personal experiences. I'd love to hear how this message resonates with you. And if you know someone, a friend or family member, who's constantly giving their energy away without even realizing it, share this video with them. Together, let's help more people wake up to their true power. Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay aware, stay sovereign, and stay radiant.